Hey friend, this is episode number 505 of the And So podcast with Taylor Bradford. Let's get to it. Boss Girl Creative presents And So with Taylor Bradford, business and life musings from a successful serial entrepreneur. Each week, you will hear Taylor spill the tea on all things business, life, relationships, health, and everything in between. But don't worry, each week also includes a business nugget that will help you stay on course. And now a throwback to 3-year-old Taylor who inspired all of this.
And so,
Hello, beautiful human. Welcome to another episode of the And So podcast. I am your host, Taylor Bradford. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome if this is a first-time listen of my show. I have a very large back catalog that you are welcome to listen through. Today, we're going to be talking about the fact that I finally hired an assistant and some other things on top of getting my first email through the House of Sugar Creek related to a brand partnership, which we're going to talk about. And I'm going to share my numbers. So I've got an update for you with my whole, I'm doing the stock market strategy, compounding my interest on social media. And then this week's nugget is all about letting them. So let's get in. Quick reminder, you can listen to my show with your favorite app. An easy way to get there is bossgirlcreative.com/listen. And then it will save your favorite app listening choice forever. So all you have to remember is that link, and it will automatically open your favorite podcast listening app. Lots to choose from over there. And then if you'd like to share a win with me, I would love to celebrate with you. Message me over on Instagram at bossgirlcreative or shoot me an email, taylor@bossgirlcreative.com. I'd love to celebrate any win that you have had in your day-to-day, in your life recently, because I think it's important. I don't think that we celebrate our wins often enough. So just those two friendly reminders. So let's dive into this week's topic, shall we? So I did finally hire an assistant, and she started today as of this recording, and I'm just really looking forward to having help again and getting reorganized and all the things that go with me having an assistant and not doing things by myself anymore. So that is a win in my book. The second part of talking about hiring, I also extended an opportunity to a gentleman to start in the sales position role, or in one of them. I'm hoping I can find 5. That would be really great to bring on 5 new salespeople into our roofing business. And so actually I was supposed to have an interview with him tomorrow, and he shows up and he was like, "I'm here for my interview." And I'm like, "I don't do interviews on Monday." He was a day early. So I had some time, so I went ahead and interviewed him, and I think he's going to be a good fit. He has a friend that also does this, and it helps that he has a day job that is really flexible, and so it'll allow him to build up his pipeline. So I do have a few more interviews scheduled, and one for sure already is in this line of work. So I'm curious to hear what he's on the hunt for and why he's wanting to switch. Or maybe he's moved back into our area. I have no idea. So I've got a few more on the books, and I have my job listing still open. So I am still getting people interested. And I feel like I finally solved the problem that I was having initially with, people showing up that really had no business showing up for an interview. And so I think I have that dialed in. I'm still getting people that are like, "Yeah, I would really like a change." And they're like in high school. And I'm like, "A change from McDonald's? Okay. I need you to have some sales experience, because I can't teach that part. I can teach how to sell what we offer, but I can't teach you to be a salesperson. You have to have personality traits already. So that is that. I'm really excited about where we are now with that. I still am concerned about the human race and the generations underneath me, but I can't solve all of the world's problems. Let's see. Let's talk about my garden. So I put out a piece of content yesterday, actually, and that said that I decided I'm going to be a flower farmer. And I've been following this flower farmer education person on Instagram, and she actively talking about that you are going to have a flower farm before you ever have flowers to sell or to offer. And no matter if you are just going to do, like small bouquets that can be bought weekly or a subscription service. I can remember when I personally invested in a monthly flower subscription service, and it allowed me to pick up a bouquet every 2 weeks, but I had to go to a neighboring town about 40 minutes away in order to pick up that bouquet. So it wasn't necessarily all that close for me, but I knew the girl personally, and I was just in awe of her having a flower farm and selling flowers, because I feel like flowers for the most part make people happy. So I decided to put it out into the world that I am going to be a flower farmer. And this first season is complete trial. I have no idea what I'm going to be good at. I have no idea what's going to grow well in my soil or even in my area. And so we'll see. I have seeds started. I have dahlias will be shipped to me their tubers will be shipped to me, I think, in March from 2 different flower farms that I bought from. And I also have dahlia seeds, but I'm growing a whole host of things. And I just realized I probably also need to grow, I think it's called cress, something like that. I saved an Instagram story that I just saw earlier, an Instagram reel that I just saw earlier, and I was like, oh, I need more greenery, more filler. I have eucalyptus growing from seed right now, and I have basil that I will be starting this week. It's cinnamon basil, and so that will be a nice filler for my bouquets. But I feel like I need one more option. So I was like, oh, that's really pretty. So I think I'm going to try growing that. So I just decided to put it out to the world that I am going to be a flower farmer, and we'll see what happens. Got to try. If you want to do something different in life, you have to definitely put one foot in front of the other and try. So let's see. Right now, I am operating underneath the mask of a very challenging migraine that is making me so nauseous. So this particular episode might be short and sweet. I may not make it to my usual length. We'll see. I have taken something for it. It has not taken the edge off of it. But these particular migraines, when they start affecting me in other manners outside of just having my head hurting, those are concerning for me. And so we'll see. So I know it is because our weather is changing. It's flipping back and forth. Saturday we were 84, 85, and today we're in the 40s. And that cold front came through for us yesterday, and I think we were in the low 50s all day yesterday. And thankfully I was in my tractor all day yesterday tilling up my garden area, so I was able to till up most all of it and expand because I need 14 rows for my next planting. And I still have things in the ground. My collards are still growing like champs. My broccoli is still producing florets, not any more crowns because that's a one and done part of the plant. And I still have garlic in the ground that I can't move, and some lettuce I started, and it's starting to finally gain some strength. And so I can't till up all of it. And so I was able to till up the rows I didn't use and then expand the garden both directions in hopes that I can get the 14 rows that I need. So that is that. I do want to talk about, I just got my first brand pitch for the House of Sugar Creek's website, and I would imagine I'm going to toss in the YouTube channel with that as well. And what I find interesting is it was more of an affiliate relationship than anything else. And it was for hair care. And I don't talk about that. So, not a good fit. I wrote back and I said, thanks for reaching out, but I'm not interested. Goodbye. No, I didn't say goodbye, but I did say I'm not interested. And it was for a hair care brand. And it's not the hair care brand I actually pay for. I'm in a subscription to Prose, which is they're creating my version of shampoo and conditioner based on my quiz and everything I entered. And so I have that subscription. It was not Prose reaching out to me. Even if it was Prose, they were this particular hair care company was offering a 15% affiliate commission plus free product. And I don't remember what else. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not interested in that. So, but it is the first ever brand pitch that I've had under the brand, the House of Sugar Creek. So I feel like that will be a thing eventually. It is what I am working towards. And so stay tuned for that. I did want to also acknowledge that producing more content across the different platforms, I haven't really experienced it on Instagram as of late. And I really can't recall a time that I did experience this on Instagram. But I have had some TikTok comments that I've deleted recently. I was posting my tomatoes. So I have 8 varieties of tomatoes that I'm growing. They all happen to come from Baker's Creek, which is, I think, called rareseeds.com. And it's either Johnny's or Baker's. That's where I was buying seeds from. But all of my tomato plants the seeds happen to be from Baker's. So my seed packets, that is what they say on them. So as you see me moving through the different 8 varieties, you see the word Baker's Creek. And man, this girl came on the attack against Baker's Creek. And I just hit the delete button. Like, I don't understand that type of, what is a good patriotism? Like, I don't even think that's the right word. Like, what's a good word for that? I don't think that that's necessary, right? Like, I appreciate you finding my content and watching it and taking the time to write something, but that's not helpful to just attack. So I'm going to delete that. I'm not going to allow space for that. But I don't understand that mythology. Why? How is that helpful for your cause? Whatever your cause might be. How is that helpful? You just don't share about that brand. I don't understand the animosity that some people create, and because that just begets more of that. And I don't want to live in a hate-filled or hate-fueled like space on the interwebs. So delete, goodbye. But I got a comment on my YouTube channel from a gentleman that has been a follower for a couple of months at this point. And I made a comment in one of my videos last week that I noticed some cabbage worms making their homes on my, what was it? I guess it was my collards. It could have been my broccoli. And I remember first coming into contact with a cabbage worm with my tomato plants back in 2006 or 2007. And I would just flip them across the fence. Good luck to you. But I don't really have a place for them to go. So they just go bye-bye. And man, I got a diatribe on, it said, "Pardon me, ma'am. Do you not know where butterflies come from? Do you not know where moths come from?" Yes, sir, I do know. But these things are not going to be welcome in my garden. If they want to go be their caterpillar self somewhere else and then become a butterfly, by all means, go do that. But my plants will not be their food source. They can come pollinate once they've grown wings and such, but like, no, I don't want that pest in my garden. And like, he was like, you can always put covers over. You know how much work that is when you don't live on property? Like, yeah, no, they're just, when I spot them, they're going to go away. And I'm like, dang, I got attacked, not really attacked, like he was kind about it, but I was like, the smallest things set people off, and then they give you their 2 cents. It's very interesting, the boldness of the internet. Okay, so those are my topics. I do want to talk about my numbers, this compounding interest on social media. So when I first started telling you about my numbers, I'm going to reference back to them so we get a picture across 2 weeks of me paying attention to this compounding interest phenomenon. That's what I'm going to call it now. It's a phenomenon. So on YouTube, 2 weeks ago, I was at 234 subscribers. Last week, I told you I made it to 240, and my official count as of right now is 250. So I gained 10 new followers over the week. And then TikTok, I started out 2 weeks ago. I was at 139 followers and 1,386 likes on my TikTok account. And then last week I was at 155. So 139 to 155. My followers to date is 173. I nearly gained 20 followers in a week on TikTok. So my likes 2 weeks ago, 1,386. It moved to 1,802 last week, and now I'm at 2,100 likes. So like 300 likes in a week on my content. And this is me producing one piece of short form content and sharing it to all 3 platforms. And there's no difference in the content itself. The only difference may be the audio. But beyond that, it's the same content being shared on all 3 platforms. Plus, over on YouTube, I am publishing 2 long form pieces of content a week. So that's that. And then on Instagram, 2 weeks ago, I was at 3,470. Last week, I was 3,472. As of this recording, I'm at 3,474. So moving by 2 each week. So you can see how hard it is, like right now in the minutia, how hard it is to grow on Instagram. And I don't know where we are with the whole TikTok conversation. There's a lot more things been going on in the world that I've been paying attention to, but I am curious to see what will come of it. Now, I am getting good growth over on YouTube, which, as you have heard me say, that is one of my biggest goals in 2025 is to hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube so I can get monetized. So it's crazy. 234, I gained 6 in a week, and then I gained 10 last week. So in 2 weeks, I have gained 16 new subscribers to my channel. It's doable, you guys. It's doable to have this compounding interest thing working for you, because each time you produce another piece of content to share, it's more content for other people to find. Do you get where I'm going with that? So it's just compounding on itself. What am I reading? I am reading the exact same 2 books that I was reading last week. The Wedding People I'm currently listening to, and then Things We Left Behind is what I am reading. And now let's talk about my nugget for the week, which is, actually it was pointed out to me by my stepmom recently. The topic is Let Them. And I guess that was a Mel Robbins thing. And I guess Mel Robbins has a book that has something to do with letting them. But I saw an Instagram reel and it really hit home for me. And it goes back to when I lost my friend group. And I would just want to read it to you. So the reel starts out, I was on a thrifting trip for Sugar Creek with a side trip to see the Hope Floats house, when I stumbled on some Instagram stories featuring my girlfriends enjoying a rooftop pool sesh birthday adventure without me. And then I go on to say, I was scrolling Instagram after a long day of exploring and thrifting, laying in bed, catching up with what I missed, when I watched story after story of their pool day celebration. My heart shattered, tears started rolling, and I felt broken. And that wasn't even the most shocking part. So then I go on to say, the title of my description was, I cried myself to sleep. And then I go on to write, let me get it pulled back up this way. I cried myself to sleep One summer, I was out on a thrifting adventure, checking out 90 on 90, which is 90 miles of thrifting adventures along Highway 90 in Texas. This actually occurred in 2021. It had been a long day of driving, exploring, seeing the Hope Floats mansion, and thrifting. And as I was scrolling my Instagram before bed, I stopped my scroll the moment I spotted my friend group hanging out together at a rooftop pool celebrating one of the friends' birthday. I was never told about this get-together. Their plans were never shared with me, and we always did big things for each other's birthdays. This was the year I turned 40. I'd only been 40 for about a month and a half when I was on 90 on 90, and my birthday was skipped. This was 2 months later, or about a month and a half later, and it was the nail in the coffin, and I just knew. I was crushed. They're all hanging out without me. Tears started rolling, and I knew in that moment I was no longer in the friend group. Talk about rejection, and then the questions started on repeat in my head. What did I do wrong? Was I too much? Why? Was I not good enough? It hurt. It felt like a punch to the gut. I cried myself to sleep that night, far from home. I think moments like this come up all the time when you're left out, you're ignored, you're overlooked. When you find out you weren't invited to the party, the weekend trip, the group chat, and no matter how strong you are, it still stings. It still hurts. It's still a gut punch. Because when you're not chosen, it's easy to assume something is wrong with you. But I've since learned what it means to flip the narrative because life is way too short. What if instead of questioning your worth, you just let them? Let them not invite you. Let them have their own version of the story. Let them make their choices because you still have yours. Maybe you weren't meant to be there. Maybe that space wasn't meant for you. Maybe their lack of invitation was actually protection in disguise. Let them not invite you and go build a life so full of love, peace, and purpose that you don't even notice. Because one day you'll realize the rooms you weren't invited into were never where you were meant to shine. And the right people, they don't need an invitation to see your value and your worth. So let them. And I have to say that nail in the coffin for me, started out earlier in that year where I could start to see the dwindling of our friendship. And it started with a miscommunication with my spouse that my best friend got in the middle of, and then let the friend group into some very personal things that they had no business knowing. And then they all decided to have an opinion, and I didn't do what they wanted me to do, and I got back. Anyways, long story short, I can remember asking my best friend, when can we go back to normal? And she said to me, I'm just giving you space. And I'm like, well, I'm done with the space. I just want my best friend back. And then I can remember we would do big celebrations for each other's birthdays, and we wouldn't let the other person or the person having the birthday handle any of the details. We just knew each other so well. And I got asked for my 40th birthday year what I wanted to do, like I had to be the one to plan my own 40th birthday. And that had never been the MO before. And I was like, I would really like it if you guys planned something. I mean, is that too hard to ask? And then I got ignored. I didn't have a birthday celebration. I didn't have hey, let's at least go to dinner. And then a month and a half later to watch my friends, or who I thought were friends, celebrating on a rooftop pool and not inviting me and not mentioning it to me. And that was just the hardest thing. And I cried myself to sleep. It was so bad. And I feel like for the most part, I have worked through that. But I was like, that's some pretty decent advice to let them, when you can get to that point, because I realized that life, is not fun all the time, and it's not easy to move past some of that. But on the other side is that your value and your worth are worth so much more. And it's their insecurity, for whatever reason, something you cannot control, it's their insecurity that is hurting you in those times. And those people are not meant for you. And I see that now. I see where I fit into the equation, and I am an analytical person. Like, it is very cut and dry with me. When I feel like I am no longer useful, then I can start seeing things in a whole different light. And I've experienced that multiple times where I no longer am useful to someone, and so I get dropped as a friend, or their insecurities are greater than a conversation to say, hey, I didn't mean to hurt you. That was never my intention, whatever. And again, we're all getting older. Every day we are gaining ourselves a day olderness. I don't celebrate that fact, but life is too short. I don't like to play games. You either want to be my friend or you don't. And I'm just going to continue to let them, whoever them is, because I don't have time to chase. If you want to be a legit friend of mine, I will give you the shirt off my back. I will go out of my way to help you. I am legitimately an open book, but I cannot be the, she'll understand friend. I'm not that. I will never be that. I'm not going to be that. So let them. So if you feel like you're in a season of life where it just sucks, eventually it will sting less and you will be able to rise above the situation and kind of give yourself a bird's eye view. And that is the space that you will find the let them space. The let them space is a release. And it's a ticket back to yourself to be like, your value, your worth is valuable and is worthy. So just let them. Just let them. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And I'd love to share a win with you. So share your wins with me so I can celebrate you, because we don't do that good enough or well enough or often enough. So slide into my DMs at Boss Girl Creative, or shoot me an email at taylor@bossgirlcreative.com. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this week.
Let's go.
And like my 3-year-old self said, that is all for this week. Friendly reminder to rate and review my show wherever you are listening. And last but not least, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me an audio message at bossgirlcreative.com/speak. I would love to hear your takeaways, ideas for upcoming episode topics, and your feedback. Thank you again for listening to this week's episode. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this one.